Okay, here we are at the secret testing lab at PJ Power in the PJ Power warehouse. My goal today is to show you the difference between internally switched and externally switched solenoids. As you can see, we got 3 samples here. We've got 2 that have terminals on it and 1 that has wires. And you'll find a lot of your externally switched solenoids have wires. The common code is red, white, and black. Red being the hold coil, as you can see on this one, which is a terminal type solenoid, and it has a hold coil, which corresponds to the red wire. A white wire, which is the pull coil. So this terminal, the pull coil terminal, and then the black wire, which is a common for the 2 coils. Okay, so that is our externally switched. They come in 2 varieties, terminals or wires. This is an internally switched solenoid, and its terminals are usually positive and negative. Now sometimes you'll have internally grounded solenoids, and it will have 1 terminal or 2 terminals if it has an auxiliary terminal, which is not normally used. The auxiliary terminal is for lighting a light to tell you that the plunger has fully seated, or sends a signal to some type of device in a generator set or some type of electronic module that may be operating the solenoid. Now you'll find that one way of, if you're missing this label, it's a possibility that you can pull the plunger out, take a look, and you'll see a little button at the bottom of the solenoid, and that button is the switch, hence the solenoid being internally switched, where this plunger goes and pushes on that button when it pulls in. That's why it's critical when the solenoid is installed that you install it so that it can fully function and pull all the way in its travel to push that switch. Now, a solenoid that's externally switched doesn't have a button in the bottom. It's usually blank, or in some cases you'll find that they use the same solenoid setup, but they eliminated the button, and you can see that there's just a hole in the bottom down there, and that this goes right into that hole, and all the guts for the switch for the internally switched solenoid have been removed. Okay, so there you have it. We've got internally and externally switched, and you say, well, what's the major advantage of going with an internally switched solenoid? And the major advantage is that you don't have to provide a device to turn on both of the solenoid coils at different times, whereas in an internally switched solenoid, all you have to do is provide power and a ground, so when it pulls in, it switches itself from the high amperage pulling coil to the low amperage hold coil. Whereas on an externally switched, you have to have something that energizes the white wire momentarily and the red wire continuously to pull this in and hold it until you release the red wire's power, which will release this plunger out. Well, that's it. Stay tuned for more videos on, we'll get these solenoids energized to show you how they work.